usually walk through, I've got a form that I walk through. A couple basic factors is how much equity you're going to have in the home and income and personal assets. That's going to really start to determine what liability limit you should carry. I think a lot of people really don't realize how cheap it is to increase that limit. Like, very inexpensive, only can be like a few dollars a year difference to go from $300,000 to $1 million in liability protection on a home. Very reasonable. So making sure that that limit is set in case there's something that happens financially. As far as the reconstruction costs on the home, we talk about each one of those, talk about the home in detail. If your agent just kind of doesn't ask you anything about the home, especially if it's sometimes with a new listing, it's actually pretty easy because there's a lot of pictures that we can see, then that's okay. If it's going to be something that there's not a lot of recent pictures regarding your home and they don't really know what it looks like and they don't ask questions, then there's a pretty big risk that you could have things that are not correctly covered through there.
Okay.
Making sure those separate structures are covered well. And then the last is collections and such, making sure that you, if something is valued more as a full collection than they would be individual items, that's typically going to be something we would want to talk about. A lot of jewelry, and the theft. The way theft works is there has to be signs of forced entry, right? So if you have people over and then all of a sudden some jewelry's gone, it's not theft, right? Because they didn't break in. It's just missing and mysterious disappearance. The only way to protect against that is like a specific jewelry floater. So you can list, all right, this ring, you can set it as a separate deductible if you want, but then if it does walk out the door, you're going to be covered. You have an actual path to get the ring back or actually to replace it. So jewelry's that way, firearms are that way.
So people would need an actual separate floater attached to the policy to cover those specific things if they wanted to make sure that they would be covered.
Most policies for guns, collections, silver, gold, they're going to have a cap, a per item cap and a total loss cap. Same with like computers. If you do a lot of really nice computers, you probably don't have enough coverage on your home policy. So your jewelry could cap out at $1,000 per item. So if there's a $5,000 wedding ring and you only have $1,000 for the replacement on that item, that's going to be all you get unless there's that floater. They're going to look for an appraisal on that. Those are pretty reasonable, but just make sure that you go to a reputable jeweler. Some jewelers will actually continue to do those appraisal updates about every 5 years without a significant fee, and that's probably what you're going to look for there.